All systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, a.k.a. ToeTagginTambo, back to round out Week 10. We got the Monday Night Football Showdown show here with my guys Hoop and Title. As always, same guys you know and expect. We're here, ready to break this one down. We'll get to it with captain ownership, breaking down how we think the game's going to play out, the slate, comparing roster construction, ways to go across the board, all of those things and more. We'll get to the sim segment at the end. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone very quickly, this show is brought to you and presented by runthesims.com. As mentioned, we will have that sim segment at the end where you guys can throw your scores in there. We'll get to it. If you go to Run the Sims, want to use our code SHIPIT, you can get 10% off any membership. We do have some giveaways today too that leaked over from yesterday. So we will be giving away 2 free monthly memberships on this show. Hoop and Title can each probably pick one. And then we have a $100 member giveaway. Someone hit me up, Hoop, and said we got so busy yesterday, getting excited about the Dak love, and everyone's already looking for your jersey and all that we did not give it away. So we owe a member a $100 giveaway. So we'll get to that as well. If you're a member, hop into the Discord. We'll find one in there later. If you are just joining us for the first time, we appreciate you so much. Do us a favor, smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk more in a little bit about our YouTube channel that we'll need you to subscribe to as well if you want to go on a draw that could end up being a pretty big boy draw. Hoopster, bring you in, man. Congrats on the big day yesterday. Close to a huge day, but it was still a pretty big day. It was a nice one for you.
Yeah, I mean, you take the big wins, I mean, for sure. And then it's like, man, you get greedy and you want the real big wins. But yeah, it was like a $80,000, $90,000 day. I mean, definitely not going to complain about that. Like, there's no way I'm ever complaining about it. I don't know if I ran good or ran bad at the end. It was like hard to tell because I had 2 teams way up there. I don't know if anyone, I tweeted out, and we did from the SHIPIT Nation account. I had 2 teams in the top 5 of the 2K on FanDuel, and both teams had 2 Seattle guys. So if that game goes to overtime, like, I'm right there and probably end up shipping it. It doesn't go to overtime, but the reason it got so close was because Washington kind of scored at the end quickly. So, it's hard to say. You always want more. But we take the big wins in stride, and, it was another one of those slates. And that's, something we pride ourselves on. I know a lot of people, the talking, you follow us, you're going to win. We're providing winners. Like, this is evidence here. Like, it matches up exactly with what I put on the website. Those are the core plays on the website. Both these teams, the team in third place for 50,000, the team on DraftKings, fully aligned with those core plays. So what did that mean? A lot of members came along with the win. And like I said, it's something that we really, really pride ourselves on over here at SHIPIT Nation. Again, I've had my huge wins. Tambo, you've had your big wins. Title, you've had big wins as well. But, we want our members to come along with the wins. I'm going to have more of these. You guys are going to have more of these. The important part is that the content lines up. And we saw it again yesterday where a lot of people made some big time bucks, following these core plays, and, something very proud of.
Yeah, the tools are great too. We talked on the review show today, Nades, myself, and Tyler from Line Star. We broke it all down. The stack rankings had basically the Millie Maker winner lineups within it. You could build it. Pretty much everything you were on, Hoop, lined up with it. Like, McBride was way up the board with the Kyler stacks. You had the Cincinnati guys, Mixon, Boyd, Irwin in your stack. The Dak, Lamb, Ferguson stack. Ferguson wasn't in this one, but in others. The Seattle stacks were up the board. And then you saw, like, your guys, you and Title both liked McCaffrey. Shit, that dude could have got 40 yesterday. They were trying to feed him at the end. I love to see that.
He was on that DK team. You see that? I mean, that's
right here. Yeah, McCaffrey's right there.
On our show yesterday, again, if you're not a member, a lot of good free stuff, coming in, listening to these shows. We kind of talked through it, and, Title brought up some good points and, got me on McCaffrey, and man, it was like this close to a monster. I mean, they were trying so hard to get him a touchdown at the end. He ends up falling short, unfortunately, but, that, contributed to getting on this sort of, it was business decision. I love that. Love that.
That's what you put on the shirt, Hoop. You need to have the pun related with it, right? So Just to break it down, Title, I'll bring you in a second. I just want to show it, like you said, like this is the one thing Hoop mentioned that I always talk about and try and bring up. Hoop is going to win. You've watched him win forever. I'm going to have my wins throughout the seasons, try and get these trophies, try and give back to you guys more on the giveaway in a second. Title won the Drafters Championship for $250K, wins $80K like a couple weeks ago. He's winning all the time as well, but it's not what it's about. When we're trying to put it together, we want to make sure, and we just tease it on the Twitter, but we said the best part, many members joined him. People can actually go and use the same tools to get better. Somebody said, oh, but look at Hoop's buy-ins. Hoop didn't wake up one day and just have $4,000 to play on DraftKings. He had to start somewhere. We know a lot of you guys out there are trying to start somewhere. Start with SHIPITNation.com. Get in the door. You'll see tons of like-minded individuals with the similar goals and mindsets. If you want to play 4K someday on a DraftKings slate, you can get there. It's just nobody can guarantee you you're going to get wins. It's just you have to keep putting the work in. We've been doing this a long time. It's just like anything in life. You got to put the work in. But some of the other members, just to go quick, Title, then I'll bring you in. Kid Lightning won over $30,000. He almost said Fire Dog, one of the top players out there, always getting the job done. Our guy T Jones came through, asked me, is it okay to post the win even if I don't completely ship it? It is most certainly okay when you win still almost 20 grand, 17K in profit. That's definitely a great day. Shout out to T Jones, Big Daddy Kane, over 10,000. OG Joe, over 3,500 on a little lesser buy-in. So that was one thing. And then you see this guy here, M. Spencer, founding family member. Best ROI I've had in forever. $37 into over 1,000. Yes, Jen Joseph, bankroll management is key. That is correct. Chunky Blue, smaller buy-ins, $26, $30, $24, $27, out for $1,800, $87, $45, over $2,000 right there. WV Reeser, same thing, almost $1,000. New ones crushed for almost 1,000. Our guy Mark has been on a mini heater. Said after a rough classic slate, he got some of it back. Won 21,000 on 3K last night. He's still up on the day. We had NBA winners. Our guy Butters went back to back. Mega Millionaire Maker Seats, Butter 1989, Peluso, Mac. They both won 4K, 5K, shipped NBA tournaments. So all the sports and more. And then this guy said this is a large entry amount. He said, scroll the thread. There's multiple people that flip less than $50 into huge returns. It's not about how much you can play. It's about creating a process of your own you can use to get better, regardless of bankroll. Find what works for you, and then make it repeatable. Title, bring you in, talking on that stuff. I mean, Hoops Core was the nuts. You had a good core up there yesterday, too. Lots of good stuff going on before we get into the slate. But your thoughts on yesterday, and then we'll jump in.
Dak's the freaking man. Hoop just keeps chirping him. Dak comes out and just keep 6 figures for Hoop. I mean, man, who do I got to chirp to then give me all these wins? But no, awesome stuff, Hoop. You really deserved it. You've been, like you said, Hoop's going to win. He's been doing it for a decade now. There's no surprise about that. But seeing other members win and follow along as well is what's really cool to see. But I did want to touch on this a little bit because this is so important. Bankroll management. You see all these big wins every single week. If you're on Twitter or I'm calling it Twitter forever. I don't care.
Go ahead. It's fine.
Yeah, I knew Tambo might say something, so I'm
calling it Twitter. Tambo's making the switch. I'm with you, Title. I'm holding strong.
Yeah, hey, Tambo's always he knows.
Trying to stay up with the trends, you know. Go ahead. You're making some good points here. I'm ready for this.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're always, if you're on Twitter, I mean, you're going to see people win. In NFL, there's a billion contests out there. There's early, there's afternoon. People are going to win for sure, but you see all those wins, and I've been there too. Like, you think Hoop could just randomly started playing $10,000 a day, or like I remember when I was back in the day, $20 a day, grinding every single day. I already talked about it. I couldn't deal with the swings of tournaments, so I played cash games, all of that. Some of the best players in the world have gone broke because they don't know what bankroll management means. It's a tough game when you play. If you play tournaments out there, like Hoop's talking about, did I run good? Did I run bad? And people might be like, oh, you're crazy. Like, if you even think that. So much money is in first and second place, pretty much first place nowadays, where you can take 3 in the top 10 or whatever it may be. But if you don't take first or second, that's not like you need that first place equity with how much money is up top nowadays. So you got to get lucky. You got to put yourself in positions to be good. But to do all that, you need to still have money to be able to play. And that all stems from bankroll management. Have a plan. Don't be chasing when you're losing. If you're winning a ton too, don't just go all in on your entries as well. I've done all this. I was thinking about it this morning. I remember it was like 5 years ago. I was on like a 6-week winning streak, all this. I put in like $10,000, which was probably like 180x my normal buy-in for it. I lost it all. I remember how sad I was, and I was like, I'll never do this again. So I did want to just touch on that because I think it's not touched on enough. All these big screenshots, all these big wins, then people want to up their antes. and buy-ins and try and get those big wins. $37 into $1,000. I mean, who's going to complain about that? That's great ROI.
Massive.
Doesn't mean if you did $3,700, you'd win 100,000 plus. No, it doesn't necessarily mean that. So stay within your means, keep grinding. You can't make a bunch if you don't have money to keep playing at the end of the day.
Got to have money to make money, my friend. You said it best. And how many nights? That's the thing I've always said is like, oftentimes your biggest wins are on your standard buy-ins. It's like when you go crazy and say, oh, I'm going to treat myself. It's okay to treat yourself a little bit, but sometimes you go up and you're doing the other one and you're like, oh, now I'm in for 10K. It feels great. And then guess what? It's not the case at all. You didn't need that. The week you're in for just 1,000 is the 100K shipper or something like that. So I like this one here, Hoop. Our guy Kevlar. Hoop's previous feelings on Dak have now been redacted.
That is false, though. I like a lot of the comments, but that is false because I still stand by those comments. Like at the end, and it does tie back into like everything, like eliminating your biases when you're building your teams. And I did kind of want to touch on this because you guys, I've done shows with you guys for years, and I've shit on this guy every opportunity possible, and it's just more so tied to Dallas long term. Dallas winning important games, Dallas potentially winning playoff games. I still don't think this is the right guy for the job. Like I've said it numerous times. And I'm not, patting myself on the back, but it's something you need to get used to, eliminating biases. One of the first bias that you'll always have when you start playing fantasy sports on a consistent basis is the hometown stuff. Like you're emotionally tied to some of your home. Now, Tambo, you don't need to worry about it being up there in Canada, but guys like me and Title, like you're tied to certain guys. Like Title's a big Packers guy. Maybe he's tied to Aaron Rodgers, but you have to step aside and not let that influence your decision-making when it comes to, building out your teams. And again, to tie it back to the Dak situation, I think my 3 biggest hits this NFL season have been with Dak Prescott. I identified certain situations with Dak from a fantasy perspective that I really, really like. Like yesterday, talked about it. And we talked about it on the Friday Cash Show as well. They're favored by 17 points. What does that mean? Everyone's going to Tony Pollard, who has sucked all season long. It's an easy, natural leverage, natural pivot off of the popular side of the highest projected game on the slate. The popular side is going to be the running game. You go to the passing game, and another thing that I said, Dallas has not been taking their foot off the pedal. So even if I think they're going to smash the Giants, which they did, which we projected them to do, which we talked about them doing, not only did they get there, but Dak continued to throw the football. Dallas is a team that keeps. Now, I may have exhausted my opportunities this season to make money on Dak Prescott. I get that. Next time they're in the spot, he probably comes in very, very popular. But we were able to hit it twice so far this season. And it wasn't only me. Our members came along as well, identified this. I'm not saying I'm a genius by any means. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm smarter than everyone out there. But it's a situation where the guy wasn't very popular 2 times. Their team was projected to do well, and he went out there and absolutely dropped his nutsack on the DFS community, and we, were able to print some money. So, I guess to tie it all back in, like eliminate your biases. Like I don't think Dak's a great quarterback, but it's different than fantasy when we're playing this game. To get to the top of the leaderboard, and a lot of comments about me getting the jersey. Just stay tuned on that because I did say 250 and we are approaching that number. So it's been that showdown slate. He treated me well on FanDuel. We had a big win there. We had the live final seed and then some really, really big wins a few weeks ago. And then yesterday, I think we're approaching that 250 number. So it might be time, boys. Might be time.
Yeah, we'll see when you bust it out. I know you said you might be getting it, but we'll see when that happens. Just a quick note too, because we're going to go into it. But before we do, want to remind everyone, it's going to be it's potentially for a lot. So I got no problem talking about this. Hoopster said he would make sure. But just for those of you that don't know, going to King of the Beach this week, I have pledged 10% of my winnings as a giveaway, and it's going to include random people. It's going to include SHIPIT Nation members. It's going to include Mayo Media Network. We're going to make it all work. What I've done is simple. So far, I'm guaranteed $6,000. So I'm doing 6 $100 giveaways up to 6 $5,000 giveaways because first prize is $300,000. So it's a 75-person tournament. I have 1 entry. It's in Miami. I'll be down there this weekend trying to win that thing. I've got a 2nd and a 3rd place trophy on my shelf. I finished 6th last year. All these would be big prize payouts, hoping to get it done for everybody again. But it starts with our YouTube channel. Hoop, if you can maybe throw it in the chat. Very simple. pause the video if you have to right now after you hear what I'm about to say. Go to youtube.com/@ShipItNation. Simple instructions to get in the draw for up to $5,000. It's at least 100 that we're giving away, and it might be 100 to 2 people from doing this. It's easy. You go to our YouTube station, you subscribe. Once in there, you can click videos and go to this video. It says Ship It member wins 1 million. We did an interview with our guy D-Dry Dalton, incredible dude. Great story. You can watch it in less than 15 minutes if you put it on 2X. Hear his story as he breaks it down using our tools, other sites, things like that to put it together, get better, and have himself a life-changing win. And you must subscribe to the channel and comment on that video. Whatever it is that you want, just comment on that video. That's how you get in the first draw for up to $5,000. So that's going to do it for the intro stuff, guys. We can get into it. Title, I'll swing it back to you, man. Give us your thoughts, grand scheme overview on this slate. We got Denver at the Bills. The total dropped to 0.5 point, but it's still at 47. And I for you, Title, I tweeted it out last night. It almost went 4 straight games, island games, with no passing touchdowns, if you include Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, Germany game, and then last night. But Mayer got that one late. So it was 1 passing touchdown that we've seen in the last 4 games. Tonight, hoping to see some more. How do you see this game playing out? What's your first thoughts on the slate?
Yeah, well, first, good luck to you this week in Tambo. You grind very hard for that. Hopefully you can take that home and some members can benefit. But yeah, as far as this one, I don't know. We mentioned briefly a little bit yesterday. Like you're like, oh, the Buffalo's on the slate. Hoop's going to be very condensed at captain. And I'm kind of in the same boat looking at all this stuff. And Bill slates can be tough. Chief slates can be a little tough because there's Allen, there's Josh Allen, there's Stephon Diggs. And really outside of those two, ownership's going to be pretty spread out at captain. But going to anybody on the Broncos side, Russell Wilson, I guess he hasn't been a disaster like he was 2 years ago, but he hasn't been good. Clicking on Sutton, on Judy, Mims, who knows what they're going to do off the bye week. You do have Javonte Williams as the lead back, but the game gets out of hand. It's P. Ryan, McLaughlin mixing in too. So anyone on the Denver side feels tough. Everyone's going to either go Diggs, Josh Allen, and then, the James Cook, but he's expensive. Add some Gabe Davis. General overview is if you don't play Allen or Diggs at captain, you're already pretty different. However, I'm going to be looking more so to get different in those builds, leaving a bunch of salary, mixing in really low own play. We have the last thing I'll mention, large overview of the slate. Adam Trautman's $200, and he's going to project by far the best guy all the way down there. However, he's running routes. He's going to be on the field. He's also the biggest cardio guy there is. So I'm interested to hear your 2 takes on Adam Trautman for $200. It's not chalk, but on this slate, chalky, I guess.
Yeah, we'll talk about him when we get there. I definitely think he's going to be a factor on the slate at $200 for what he does, for what he's out there for, whether it's cardio or not. The opportunity is there and the possibilities. So like you said, I think there's, some that will just say fade it because of that. But at the same time, it's just a good spot to be able to build into your lineups. And with the price tags on some of these guys, depends on how you want to go. Hoop, I am interested to get your thoughts because we said it before, some people are good on certain slates with certain teams. I think you always do well on these Bill slates. I always go against you. I will probably be going against you again on this one.
If you're going against me today, I want to hear who you're playing because, man, I just don't. I'll
talk about it in a second. I think it's kind of interesting for this slate. Right. But yeah, go ahead. Let's talk about it here. What are you doing?
I want to touch on this real. I don't know if this is like a shot or not, and I apologize if it's not a shot. And I'm about to be a dick to you, but I will say with pretty much 100% certainty, I don't think there's probably anybody in the industry that has given more of their own money out of their pocket back to the community. I honestly, if you think there is someone that's given back more, go ahead and talk about it. But after I won $1 million, I think I gave away $10,000 the next week, just firing $300, $400, $500 tickets to members. Last 2 showdown slates, not last night, but the Monday and Thursday, I gave away $300 to our members in Discord. So get into Discord, number 1,
Per slate.
And I will be doing it again tonight. And you have to be in our Discord. And I'll just, the way I've been doing it is I said, hey, put your PayPal in there. The first 10, send them money to play on the showdown slate. So if it's not a shot, I apologize for being a dick. But if it is a shot, there's nobody that's giving away more, and I feel pretty confident saying that.
I'm trying to beat you with the record this week. If I can get to a 30K giveaway,
well, then you might pass me. Yeah, you might pass me.
I'm competitive, right? But I think T. Crystal's a regular. I think it's just that people love giveaways. They just want more, Hoop. It's never
People
enough.
like free money. I mean, when you win 90,000 and you 10% is $9,000, people want $9,000, Hoop.
Yeah, well, guess what? If they want a portion, they get in that Discord. That's the thing. You get in the Discord, money will be given away tonight to members in our Discord. All right, there's no doubt about that. And then I hope Tambo passed me up. Tambo is going to pass me up this weekend when he shifts first place. So I mean that's what's going to happen. But yeah, we're always all about giving back. In terms of this game, sorry for the tangent. We need to get back on track. But in terms of this game, these Bills games are tough for me. I mean, they are very tough, and especially when you match them up with Denver, who just doesn't have many appealing fantasy options. Like on the Denver side, I don't know. I can't find a name that I want to click in the captain. Maybe you guys can sell me on one. I mean, it looks like Javonte Williams is projecting pretty well. He has a pretty fair price tag, but I just am more pretty certain I'm going to bank on Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs to get the job done. Dalton Kincaid, I think, is a play up there. He's just, great connection with Josh Allen. With Knox out, I think he's a guy to consider up there. Gabe Davis, not the same Gabe Davis as last season, but he has multiple touchdown upside. So probably going to end up being a Buffalo heavy approach for me. Obviously, all this information will be updated over at shipitnation.com. But again, just really having a hard time selling myself on anyone on the Denver side. If it was going to be anyone, maybe it's Williams. I mean, why is he projecting so well? Somebody out, or is he just kind of getting all the work now?
He's been starting to, as of late, get more of the work, but they are coming off a bye too. And I mean, he got most of the work against the Chiefs when they're up all game.
That's why. So he had 27. He had 27 carries last game. So if they're playing with the lead, he probably gets a lot of work. Well, I just don't think they're playing with the lead today. So kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about this. You're either in on that side or you're not. You guys know I'm always on the other side, contrarian way of playing, just trying to get stuff to go bad. I said it in the Discord today. Maybe it still doesn't matter, but we've got 9 games, 9 picks, 9 weeks, 9 picks for Josh Allen. He's throwing a pick per game. He hasn't rushed for over 17 besides 2 of his last 6 games. He hasn't even been doing that. So yet all the ownership continues to go there. I get it. But at least on this slate, I don't think it's as bad. Like if Cortland Sutton can get in the box, I think he can end up top. If Jerry Jeudy can do it, he can get up top. If they can start the game off early and the defense can show up and then Javonte Williams does get in, maybe they can put a little pressure that way. I really don't care about box scores, game logs, matchups, cornerback matchups, anything like that at all. All I care about is what the field's doing. The field is going to be pretty heavy on Buffalo, 4-2s for sure. And 5-1s will get love as well. So I'm going to try and focus on the other side. That's my theory. That's what I'm going to play it from. How it actually plays out, we'll see. But at least I think there's an opportunity here. So with Denver, the guys like, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Javonte Williams, Russ Wilson. If he spreads it out, that's a guy that could throw one to each of these guys and maybe gets going with his legs a little bit. We could see they make him scramble. So that's the guys I have more interest in. I won't go completely off them. I'm going to take the title approach. That's kind of the thing about building in sets is I'll be way underweight on the field to Allen, Diggs, and for sure Kincaid. But in those lineups, I'll have to get different with them when I'm doing it because I think a lot of people will be playing those. Like I might play Diggs in 2-4 lineups. Diggs up top, Allen in the flex, 4 Broncos, and leave money. Like just do that. Like for example, that's kind of how I would look at it where most people that have Diggs with Allen, sure, it may end up being a 4-2 or a 5-1 even with someone like a Troutman on the other side and all the guys. That obviously makes the most sense on paper. I just have no interest in that chop or whatever that ends up looking like up top. We'll see. So Title, any extra thoughts from you, man? If not, you can break down more on the captains in general, just what you're thinking after we went through the grand scheme overview here.
Yeah, no, I'm with who. Usually I'm on your side with this where it's like, man, everyone's going to go these two. Go to the other side, hope it gets different. But I like the approach. Like, I'm going to be playing Allen. I'm going to be playing Diggs. I really like Gabe Davis in this spot. Coming off an awful game, he has that type of upside. He's going to get some ownership, but I think the price will keep the ownership in check. Love him at the captain spot. Love him in the flex just because he has that upside. And then I don't really look at individual matchups too much, but Patrick Surtain, one of the best DBs out there. I expect him to shadow Diggs. You can maybe make a case. I already like Gabe Davis anyway, so saying that makes me like Gabe Davis even a little more there at the ownership. if I'm going to the Denver guys, I just like going Cortland Sutton, Judy, Javonte Williams. Just give me the 3 best skill position players. Hope they fall in the box. Javonte and Sutton have pretty good touchdown props. Javonte plus 155, Sutton plus 170, Judy plus 255. So I prefer them over the Russell Wilsons. He does have, of course, some rushing upside. Hopefully not today, though. But I'd just be playing one of those 3 because they'll be pretty low owned at captain. Pretty much any Bronco. If you're not playing like the James Cooks, Gabe Davis, Allen Diggs, I think all Broncos pretty low owned there. So I'd mix them. But I do like the idea, like if I am going Diggs, Allen, just go those 2 as your only Bills and then go 4 Broncos. Or you can put one of them at the captain as well and just hope all the target shares concentrated, or Josh gets one, runs one in, throws one to Diggs, stuff like that. So I do like the 4-2 Broncos builds, or the 2-4, and you still have a Bills at the captain spot. But no, I'm going to be a lot tighter at captain than usual. And I usually am in the nature of these Bill slates and Chiefs slates when there's only 2-3 guys that stand out way above the rest.
Sorry, we had to cut off your face for a minute. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, double D's in the building. Our man here, he says, what's good, boys? 150 lineups already built. Today's slate plan, 100% Allen and Wilson heavy. 100% Allen and Wilson, heavy overweight Denver receivers, heavy underweight Diggs. Let's get it 100. He's in. He's already done. He got this stuff set up. He's ready to ship. He shipped like a couple weeks ago, so maybe he could do it again. But
did he extend his vacation? Because I know last time he had the 150 done earlier was he had the day off work from the factory. So I wonder if he took another vacation day or what's going on.
Maybe he only buys groceries 1 week at a time, so he goes back each week to get more groceries. It's not just get me set up for 2 to 3 weeks thing. So the produce, man, you got to get in there and get that fresh. So I like a lot of what Title just said. I think it's, again, to clarify and add on, like with what Title said and what some asked. Like, I just can't see any Bronco player beating out the Bills studs. I think you're just talking in the captain. But again, how can you do that differently? If you're fading Diggs in the captain, you could go Gabe Davis captain. He gets 2 touchdowns from Josh Allen, and that's what they do. And then you could easily have it where Tyler Bass isn't involved because of that. James Cook isn't involved because of that. All these other factors, which means the catch-up game of the other guys on the other side. You could see it be a 3-3. That could be different here, right? I think you could see Bills 3-3s would be different, and that could easily happen. We've seen it plenty of times. Nades and I were talking on the review show today. Not to say everyone on this slate is trying to get to 5-1s for any reason. Like, at least we have really viable guys in Denver players for the flex. I think you guys can both agree. Where it's like you could see last year it was with the Eagles versus the Texans, the slate that Nades and I chopped. Everyone was playing 5-1s and 4-2s. We had Goddard in the captain. We had Hurts in the flex. And Goddard, I think, got 2 touchdowns. We had Gainwell, because if the blowout happened, Gainwell would be involved after the fact. And so there's your Kincaid, Allen, with maybe Latavius Murray. We'll talk on Fournette here in a second as well. I forgot that off the top, just in case. Not in the DK pool. By the way, I didn't even check FanDuel yet. But just to note, the other side of that lineup, we had Houston would have to come back. Let's just play the starting quarterback, the wide receiver 1, and the running back 1. It was like Chris Moore and Damian Pierce with Davis Mills. And it ended up being the nuts. And only like 7 or 8 people had it because not many people played 3-3s. And here you'd be able to have Russell Wilson with Javonte and someone else. Or maybe you have to go down at one little spot and change this build up some. But just in general, I definitely think these builds are possible where you're still going with the crowd, but you're going away from it on the actual roster construction. So I love some of those points that were brought up. JT says it here, Hoop. Fournette is $7K on FanDuel. So we got to wait to see, just so people know, Fournette has not been activated yet, but a lot of the talk in the latest articles from today and yesterday are people saying he's going to get activated for this game, and they could see him get in the mix as soon as this game. So how does that make you feel, Hoop, based on those thoughts? Because it's not that we can't use them on DraftKings at least, but it would affect the usage potentially of the guys like James Cook and Latavius Murray. So give me your thoughts on that. Got him.
Yeah.
We got him. He was looking at our facial expressions and he knew. We got his ass.
And the good thing is,
like always,
we got his ass.
I have to do it at least once a show because since this has started, it's been like a month, and your boy's on a little bit of a heater, so I'm going to make sure this happens at least once a show. So it's planned. I planned that. I didn't do it unintentionally. It was a plan because things have been going so well for myself and our members. I want to keep that momentum going. So talking on mute one time a show is what's going to happen moving forward. So you have, I'd say, probably the most overpriced guy on the slate, and James Cook at, what is he, $10,000? Like, that is like a extreme price tag for James Cook. I mean, you look at his workload, and man, last game he had 6 carries, 4 targets, which is nice, but 6 carries, 14, 13, 14, 5, like, just doesn't get a lot of work. When Buffalo's rolling, they're passing the damn football, the ball staying in Josh Allen's hands. Like, what he has to do at 10K to pay off that price tag is probably 2 touchdowns. So he's definitely a fade candidate for me tonight. I mean, you're looking at over 30% ownership on him. I might just say, you know what, like, he's out. And I haven't built any teams yet. Haven't even ran the optimizer one time. The solver obviously is what we use and we're partnered with. I haven't ran it one time yet, so I don't know what I'm going to get, but I could see myself potentially fading James Cook. And I'm not saying that Leonard Fournette's coming in and going to get all the work. Like, that's definitely not the case, but it just adds another level of risk on an already overpriced guy. So I think the Fournette thing, if he's active, we got to see. I don't think I'll be playing him on FanDuel. I don't think there's any chance I'm playing him on FanDuel at the 7K, but I do think it adds a little bit of risk into an already overpriced James Cook.
Yeah, I was just looking at the solver. It definitely hates him. So I will say that. One thing I'll note, though, this is great times for me until it's not tonight. But either way, we got a great carryover narrative from yesterday, because what happened yesterday? Oh, we pegged it. You just had it off the top of the show. It's going to be all Pollard, the game script. It's a blowout only. It has to be Pollard. And then wait, it's Dak Prescott and the passing game, and they crush. What's going to happen tonight? Oh, it's no way it can be James Cook. It has to be the passing game.
Totally. No, I can't let you get away with that. I mean, two totally different. I mean, two totally different situations. Like, not even close. That's just how the world
works, though. People think all these running backs fail. Yeah. The passing game's got there. So what happened?
It's like, last night? It's never James Cook for the Bills, though. Like, it's been Dak for the Cowboys many times, but it's never James Cook for the Bills.
But if it is, then it's good. Then it's big money. That's what I'm looking forward to. So,
but the thing is, like, even last night, money for your boy.
Last night it was Breece Hall. It was it ain't big money. Be your 90-way chop. Congrats. It's last night was Jacobs and it was Breece Hall, and then all of a sudden, what happened at the start of the game? It comes out Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson. It's all about, for me, thinking about what could happen. Is it likely? No. Shit, the solver hates this guy. It's got James Cook way down the board in our projections. I'm sure other sites will too. But that's where the leg up is. What if it is?
But James he's still Cook getting substantial ownership, though. It's not like he's like a low-owned play. Like, he's going to be one of the main plays on the slate.
I don't think he'll be super high owned. I think he'll be like 7 or 8% in the captain.
Oh, and just in the captain, I'm just talking like overall stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
And normally, Hoop knows this. I would tell everybody just go bet his 2 touchdown prop, because that's literally what's going to take. But the only difference is on a showdown slate, it can pay off a lot more than your 2 touchdown bet to have something like that go right in your lineups when there's 500K up top and the rest of the field decides that's not really possible because you're paying up for probability. Like I always say, he's going to get ownership for sure. He's part of this Bills squad, but at the end of the day, we'll see as we get closer. I'll have it up in the slate plan over on the site. I do want to get the Fournette news, though, assuming he's in. But right now, that would maybe temper my love for him just a little bit. I've got most of the slate plan up now for members that want to check it out. Anybody just joining us, but I mean, that was definitely a line that I threw in there, so I want to see how that works. So, Title, your thoughts? Anything else to add there with this? If not, you can just take us into running backs as a whole and add on to that one and the Fournette takes and all these different things.
Yeah, I really just hope Fournette's not active, and I have a feeling that he probably is going to be. How many times, like, Latavius Murray's been good, and he's been utilized mainly on the goal line, and James Cook's good in open space and can catch passes. So, like, what role does Fournette really have? I doubt even if he's active, I change much of Cook and Latavius Murray ownership. Now, the Cook stuff's really interesting. Like, I agreed with some points that both you guys made. Like, he's going to get some ownership, but if you look at the top 5 guys on the slate, you got Allen, Diggs, Cook, Wilson, Kincaid. James Cook's by far going to be the least owned of all 5 of them in the upper range, at least is how I'm seeing it. And I still, and this is where I think I disagree with you a little, Tambo. I prefer him more in the flex than the captain, and I totally get with what you're saying. Like when it works, get all of it. But just because of the lack of usage around the goal line, I think he just has to break off like 2 big plays to really get there today. And I just don't love that. I love Allen more. I love Diggs more. I like Gabe Davis more. I think I even like the Suttons, the Judys, the Javantes. And I think they have a little more touchdown equity. So I like Cook more in the flex. Well, he'll still be maybe 30% owned. It's definitely going to be lower owned than all those other guys I mentioned, but I'm out on him in the captain. Of course, if you're playing 150 teams, I'm not saying that. If you're only playing a couple, I'm not really getting to James Cook there. But in the flex, he is overpriced. If he falls in the box once, though, I still think that's enough. The other running backs on the slate, I like Latavius Murray too. Talking about those rules, man, I'm done making these stupid rules. Roshan Johnson and Foreman for $300,000, and I had no chance because I made that rule right away. Back to no rules. So if Latavius and Cook end up in my lineup, fine. I still don't love it though. But I do like Latavius Murray without James Cook. Like I said, he's been getting a lot of the goal line work that leverages off Josh Allen captain ownership, because a lot of Josh Allen's captain upside is the rushing touchdowns around the goal line. So Latavius Murray steals that. I think I prefer Murray actually over James Cook the more I'm talking about it. On the other side, it's tough because Javonte got a lot more of the work. They're coming off a bye. So 2 weeks ago, but we talked about they were leading that game against the Chiefs the whole way. It was the perfect game script. I still expect P. Ryan and McLaughlin to get worked in if they are trailing. So I don't really like any of these guys too much. I don't know. I think I like McLaughlin a little over P. Ryan because he's going to be lower owned, but it's not a strong lean by any means there. You're pretty much just taking dart shots, I think. After Javonte Williams, I think P. Ryan and McLaughlin will be mix and match relatively similar, and I'll just take the lower owned McLaughlin there. But yeah, more we talk about it, really James Cook flex, all these running backs I prefer in the flex and the captain spot. Javonte, McLaughlin on the other side, but maybe you guys can talk me into some other stuff besides Cook. I feel confident about him, but these other guys, I don't really know, to be honest.
Yeah, someone said Latavius Murray revenge game. We always get that brought up at least once for somebody. Like, it's just always the way that it goes. I get what you're saying. I think, again, like you said, though, they both leverage the top captains are Diggs and Allen. So both of those situations are leveraged massively by someone like a Cook, whether it's on a quick out and he takes it from, it's even better if he gets it from like 40 yards out, which is how he typically gets it. Bang, you're already in trouble and at jeopardy of your other captains that you've got up there if that happens early on. And then other than that, even your Murray call, like you said, that's still better, I think, in the flex, but just it would be goal line stuff where he pulls from those guys specifically, and he pulls from the double down of the Allen 2 Diggs. So definitely like that call. I think there's ways that you could build it up. I like P. Ryan a little bit on the comeback. Like that's what I'm saying. If you had those 2-4 builds where just one guy gets there with one guy, I would like that more. And then you would have like Russ, P. Ryan, maybe somebody else on the run back in the flex. I think you could get away with that with Buffalo guys, with one of them in the captain there. Hoop, did you have
I got two things for you, Tambo. So do you like P. Ryan more than McLaughlin? And then does Fournette being active do anything to your running back takes?
Yeah, definitely like P. Ryan more than McLaughlin. I think, like you said, the price is one thing. I'll have some of both. I like them both, but I like P. Ryan more. I think he gets the check downs. I think he's the guy at the end of the game that pulls the Tyler Conklin from last night, where all of a sudden he's out of the mix completely. And then at the end, he's all of a sudden very much in the mix, winning people all the money. That's how you could see that play out. You may have to wait all game for it, but it's definitely possible. And then second would be the Fournette news would change it some. I think I would just drop Cook a little bit in the captain and probably a little overall, just because I'm already, like you say, nervous of it a little bit. But I'm playing him solely on the fact that, like you said, of the top 5 captains or whatever, he's not in the top 4. So I'm okay with that. And good with that route too. I like kind of the Denver guys, maybe some too, Javonte as well. But Hoop, give us your running back takes here, the Fournette talk, and then the backups for Denver, all that stuff that you've got. Latavius Murray revenge game as well was brought into the mix.
Oh god, I was just trying to see, did Denver win that game? Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
again. Well, I know they beat KC, but the game before that, did they win?
Oh, I was thinking of the KC game.
Yeah, just trying to pull this up real fast. Someone probably will beat me to it in chat. A hardcore Denver fan. They won 19-7 against the Packers at home. So the problem I have with Javonte Williams is I think everyone's looking at the last 2 games and saying, all right, now it's this guy's backfield now, and it was 2 games that the Broncos won. They were playing with the lead at some point. I mean, they dominated the game against the Chiefs, obviously.
We're up 9-0 at half too against the Pack.
Yeah, so they're playing with the lead in both those games. Like, I'm just not sold on the fact that this is Javonte Williams' backfield. So I'll probably be building teams opposite of that. So when I look at this running back player pool, like, I don't like Cook. I don't like Williams. I'm going to definitely be on all these cheap guys. Latavius Murray, P. Ryan, and McLaughlin are all in play for me in a big way here. The Fournette thing, I think, definitely hurts Cook the most. Like, I think they feel very comfortable with Murray on the goal line. I think he continues to get that work. So I don't know. Like, I don't like Cook. I don't like Williams, Murray, P. Ryan, McLaughlin. I do like quite a bit. I think they're all good plays, all very, very cheap. I mean, they're all priced where they just need to hit the end zone. And if they do, they have a really good chance of being an optimal. Whereas like Cook could get in the end zone twice. And yeah, you're going to need him in the flex, but I still don't think he would be a lock to be like the optimal captain tonight. Whereas a guy like Stephon Diggs, if Diggs finds end zone twice, he's going to be the optimal captain. So Cook, Williams, not much interest. I mean, Williams' price tag is pretty fair at 7,200, so I probably will have some of him, but it's not like a spot where I'm thrilled to play him. Again, prefer the cheap guys here at the running back position over the expensive ones.
All right, what about wide receivers? Title brought up a good point. The chat talked about it a little bit. Like with the Diggs side of things, he's always popular for good reason. You're going to get lineups of him no matter what. So you're going to decide what you're doing with him. But then Gabe Davis, Shakir, right? You got some other guys behind him. And then also the other side, we talk about Judy. We talk about Sutton. We talk about some of their guys, Mims Jr. People want to mention. What's your thoughts with these wide receivers on the slate?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. I mean, so it's Stephon Diggs for sure. I mean, he's clearly at the top, but I mean, he is at a price tag, $12K. That's a big price tag, and you're making sacrifices to your lineup, whether you play him in captain or flex. And yeah, I don't follow the matchup stuff all that close, but if he does have a tough cornerback on him, like he does have a path to not bust, but have an underwhelming performance tonight. Now, do I think that's the likely scenario? No, I think he does well. So I want a lot of him, but again, he's all the way up there at 12K. I mean, this is a big boy price tag, and rightfully so. I mean, he's been probably one of the best top 3 wide receivers in the NFL in terms of production this year. All the other guys for the Bills, Shakir, I do like quite a bit. I mean, you look at him, and he's out there and he's converting all of his targets into receptions. He has Josh Allen's trust clearly at this point. Since he's been playing more snaps, 4 catches, 4 for 4, 6 for 6, 4 for 4, 35, 92, 57 yards. He's only 4,400, like a great guy to play in those Josh Allen captain teams. Gabe Davis, I do like, if you're going to be a little lighter on Stephon Diggs, like you better be heavy on Gabe Davis. I think it only makes sense. I know there's been a lot of comments in the chat, people saying, I don't love Diggs, I'm going to be under on Diggs. If that's the case, that's fine, but make sure you have yourself a big chunk of Gabe Davis tonight. So in on him. I always play like a little bit of this Deontay Hardy guy. Like he's always in there for a couple plays where they're trying to force him the ball. It's only $200. Like I'm going to keep him in my player pool. Again, not a spot where I'm going to have a ton of them, but I want to keep him in my player pool tonight. On the Denver side, I mean, the prices are good on Judy, Sutton. I think they're both fine. Mims at 3,800. Like, I think they're all great flex guys. Like, there's no doubt about it. They're playing from behind. Like this is, Russell Wilson has had success playing from behind all throughout his career. And, in the last few years, he's had a lot of opportunities playing from behind, but he does typically tend to get there and be more productive when they're down multiple touchdowns. So Judy, Sutton, Mims, I think all fine options in the flex. Little Jordan Humphrey, 200, like maybe a little bit of him, but it's kind of what I'm thinking here at wide receiver. But yeah, my main point would be if you're going to be lower on Diggs, make sure you get yourself some Gabe tonight
or James Cook, because it just ends up being a running game instead.
Oh no!
But like this is the best slate. I love these slates. I lose on them all the time. I don't care. But like this, since Hall went nuts week 5, the Denver Broncos haven't allowed more than 61 yards to a back and barely over 100. I don't care. Like, we're playing one game tonight. Anything can happen. Hoop just mentioned it. Surtain could get burned by Diggs for 3 touchdowns. Don't care about that matchup either. Judy is a fraud. He's what do you call him? A jag, just a guy, and then had to apologize for it. It's fine until he's not, or he's not for one slate today. It's like all this stuff can happen and can change in one slate. We've seen way crazier stuff happen. It's the NFL. Stuff changes so quickly. I actually don't care. I'm not going to try and predict anything about how this game plays out tonight beyond making sure my lineups make sense and go against the field. That's today what I really want to do because it's so clear cut. If you just look at it on paper, I think this is going to happen. Yeah, everyone knows, or everyone thinks they knows what's going to happen because that's what it says on paper. It's still only a touchdown spread. It's still a big total, almost pushing 50. Like it could still go way under in a blowout. I'm just saying I'm going to play for that reason and title. That's why I love slates like this, man. Just the best chance at getting different when everyone that knows ball is going to put their ball lineups together and say, it has to be this way. Cause that's why Hoop wins all the money. And I sit on the sidelines in Showdown some weeks, but I'm excited for it. I love it. Give us your takes on these other wide receivers. You broke it down a little earlier and said you already love the Gabe Davis side. So it worked out even better in your favor, like because of some of the stuff, but anybody else and any of the Denver guys that you can talk about a little bit more.
Yeah, so this is where I'm going to, because I'm going to be playing some Diggs, some Allen, I do need to get different in some spots. And this is a big spot where I will, because Adam Trutman will be the highest owned $200 player on the slate by far. But we have other options, guys that will be Mix and Nash on the field. Now, they do have to convert when they're there, but guys that are $200 or less than $1,000 in the receivers. We have Trent Sherfield, Lil Jordan Humphrey, Deontay Hardy. Those are the main ones right there. I'm not getting to Traquan Smith, but Little Jordan Humphrey and Marvin Mims, who mentioned Mims, are fighting for the number 3 spot. And Little Jordan Humphrey has got more snaps than Mims all year. Now they're coming off the bye week. I saw a little coach talk with Sean Payton trying to get him out there. Mims is definitely the more explosive, better guy, but I think people are just expecting it. Finally going to get that Mims game. Little Jordan Humphrey for a fraction of Troutman's ownership at $200. Going to get some routes in the slot. I'm going to be playing him, who's going to be low owned. I'll get overweight. Yes, Shakir has been taking over the number 3 for the Deontay Hardys, the Trent Sherfields of the world for Buffalo. However, like Hoop said, they still mix Hardy in, design plays for him. Sherfield, a better blocker. He still gets mixed in as well. It only might take one catch, especially one touchdown, as we saw Quentin Morris on, I think it was the last Bill Showdown game. Otherwise, it was 2 Showdown games ago. It only takes one from these guys. And Troutman, the chalk down there, there's plenty of a pass for him not to get there. He might not even get a target at the end of the day. He's just a better blocker. He'll be on the field more than all of these guys, but I will be underweight Troutman and overweight all these other sprinkles that I know at least will be on the field. And you can play Diggs captain, Josh Allen, this, that, still leave a little salary, mix in a Sherfield or something at 2% own. That's how you can win all the cheese. So I'll be mixing in these bums down low. Now the Suttons, the Judys, I like them both. I think they're both fine. I prefer them in the flex. No strong lean. I love Diggs. Talked about Gabe Davis a lot. Shakir's price tag, like Shakir and Marvin Mims, I think their ownership will be in check. And Shakir 24, 25%. I'm good with that, I guess, as a number 3 receiver. So I guess Shakir would fall down the list behind Gabe Davis and Diggs for me. The more I talk about it, yes, it's a different price range, but Sutton, Judy's of the world right there. So Shakir is fine. At the end of the day, the Lil Jordan Humphrey, Trent Sherfields, maybe a little Deontay Hardy. I'm going to be pivoting off Troutman and hoping one of these guys catch a pass or 2, maybe fall in the box.
Yeah, and they're talking about Troutman still. Stone minimum tight end with a 70% route participation and nothing to show for it. Not even win sprints because he's slow. It's just the fact that if he's out there, it can happen or something gets broken up. Also, it's on the Denver side. So that's where plays are going to get broken up. Things are going to break down, and Russell Wilson's just going to throw it to whoever's available. Buffalo D can get after it. So I definitely think he's at least a little more in play than normal. And like Title said, I'm seeing what, like 12% right now, somewhere in that range, give or take?
Yeah, so 15. I wouldn't be, something like that. But compared to all those other guys, compared to Humphrey, Sherfield, like those guys might be 2%. So at the end of the day, 15, 2, 7x difference.
Yeah.
Those are the stuff. But what are the likelihood that Sherfield and them get there? Not high. But when they do, how much do you win?
Humphrey's $200 too. So LJH, man, might be the guy to throw in there. Bring the noise. BTN. Go to another acronym. BTN says Tambo doesn't like that. Need to get that up for me? Yeah, we need more likes than that. If I'm trying to give away up to $30,000 at the end of this week, we need people to subscribe to the SHIPIT Nation YouTube station, and we need the likes on this channel. So smash the like. If you're just joining us, take 2 seconds. Go do it all. You can pause the video right now. If you're watching it, come right back. Put it on 2X. You'll be caught up in no time. Hop over to the SHIPIT Nation YouTube station. Subscribe there. Leave the comment on the video under the videos tab that says how SHIPIT Nation member won $1 million. My face, D-Dry on there doing the interview. All of us are involved. You can go check that out. Take you less than 15 minutes to watch it. If you put it on 2X, Hoop tight ends, Dalton Kincaid. He's a hero. He's the best. What are you doing with him this week?
Was that sarcasm?
No, I'm just telling you what everybody says. Someone asked earlier, have we talked about this guy yet? Yeah, everyone's talking about him. Like I think he set a record right now.
We were ahead of the curve though. We were on him before it was the cool thing to do, and I just got to stay on him. I mean, he's building this repertoire with Josh Allen that's been phenomenal so far. And you look at last game, 11 targets, like 7 targets, 8 targets, like he's the dude. And they talked about him coming into the season as being the guy. And, now with Knox out, he's living up to that. And, if I'm going to be light on guys like James Cook, I need to be heavy on guys like Dalton Kincaid. And this is another guy, if you're fading Diggs or underweight on Diggs, this should be one of the first guys going into your lineup, Dalton Kincaid. I mean, the connection's great. Love him. I agree with the Troutman. So I guess I'm a little confused by like the projection, because everywhere you look, I mean, he's got like a decent number next to his name, and he's
number
like
one tight end. He's always on the field.
He's a walking zero when it comes to fantasy points, though. So I mean, usually I'm always down for the $200 guys that are projecting well, because they do come in lower owned than I think they should be. But man, I don't know. Like I don't want much Troutman. I mean, I'll be in my pool because he's going to be on the field, but man, he is not very good. But then there's like no other cheap tight end, so I'm fine with like Kincaid and then some Troutman, but don't want to go overboard.
Do you think my man Adam is all right? He's talking season long. We'll give him 5 seconds of airtime though, because I like Adam. I'm up 63 points versus Kincaid.
Big trouble, man. Yeah, just plan on getting that L tonight. Just take the L. Take the L.
Sorry, man. You ran bad. Kincaid.
There's going to be
4-pointer himself.
Kincaid scoring 3 touchdowns, and Bass is going to kick, 20 field goals?
It's a lot, man. That's good stuff. Also the matchup. Anybody's looking at DVP stuff, breaks that down. Obviously, great spot here for tight ends in general. And on the Buffalo side, going up against Denver. So Denver gets crushed at all facets, but that's definitely one spot that stands out. Title, your takes. Anything else to add at the tight end position? If not, you can take us into kickers and defenses. And Hoop, you can find us our first random monthly winner as well while Title talks through this.
Not much at the tight end. Kincaid, I think he's a solid play. We'll have more in the flex than captain. I still think he's a fine captain play as well. He's arguably number 2, maybe 3 option, 2A, 2B with Gabe Davis. So I'm good with him. But outside of that, I'll be under on Troutman. He's going to be over-owned, I think. He's out there a lot, and he's out there more than Lil Jordan Humphrey, than Sherfield, than Quentin Morris, and all these guys. That's why he's projecting better. I totally get it. But he very well could get 0 targets today. Not completely fading, but I'll be under. And outside of that, like Quentin Morris, all of that, he did the job the last time. If you want to add him in the Sherfield boat, you play 150 teams, you get 3%, whatever. But most people watching this, that's not a play for you guys. So just Kincaid at tight end. As far as the kickers, the defenses, I mean, man, is Mims going to house one early for us and we get the defense, or not for us, probably against us, but you get the kicker or the returner and defense double dip? Hopefully not the case. As far as these guys, I don't like the defenses. Think they're going to get, I don't know. I think all these 15%, the defenses will be roughly Bills 20%, Broncos 10%, and the kickers, Bass maybe 25%, Lutz mid-teens. I don't really like any of these guys, to be honest, Tambo. I think I'm more in the skill position, the Latavius Murrays of the world.
I am interested to see the Bills' ownership, though, that now that you brought that point up, because the defenses obviously always continue to just dominate. I'm not doing it tonight. I liked it more last night. I could see why they were getting into all these different builds, and clearly that's why. And the kickers crushed last night too, 9-9 or whatever it was going into the half. Like this is the way it goes sometimes. But here, if people are going heavy on the 4-2s and the 5-1s, you have to think I don't think as many people are comfortable playing these $200 to $800 guys down low. Obviously, Latavius gets some love. Maybe he eats into it a little bit, but mostly
there's just no one in that range. That's the weird thing. There's nobody in this range. It goes Bass at 52, Bills 5K, Lutz 46, Broncos 32, and then in between there, Shakir and Mims 44, 38. No one wants to play Mims, but he definitely projects the worst. The Broncos D2. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely the more we talk about it, Shakir in this range, I prefer over all these guys. The kickers.
Yeah,
or
Shakir looks good over Bills D. Because that's what I'm saying. I think the Bills D comes in more just because it works. It makes sense. Like people are gonna be able to easily get it. Just I feel good about this. They're going up against Russell Wilson at home, et cetera, et cetera. It could end up being Shakir. So that's the way that you end up just finding. He, like Hoop said, they're just finding that guy and he's getting open and he's catching the ball. So it's what you need to have happen. So
you guys like the kickers or defenses? Tambo?
I'm gonna get Hoop's thoughts. Yeah, usually Hoop's the whisperer when it comes to this stuff. What's your thoughts on the kickers at least? The D's, we know what you say.
Not the defense.
No, I know the D's.
Well, I'm not the whisperer for the defenses because they've pounded me on these showdowns, and the ownership continues to be crazy. Like last night, big time. I mean that game was a little bit different, but man, big time ownership for the Bills defense. Going to get ownership though because of the points that you guys brought up. There's nothing else in this range, and people are going to look around and say, okay, well, they're at home, right? It's just in Buffalo. I should know that.
It's in Buffalo. Favored by 7 at home right now.
Yeah. So home team favored by a touchdown. Yeah, just give me that defense. I'm good to go. I definitely prefer Shakir over Bills defense. And I'd maybe go as far as to say like Mims as well over the defense. So I know they're going to be owned too. Like Bills defense, there's just no doubt in my head. Whatever site you use, which you should be using SHIPITNation.com for our projections and ownership, willing to bet the number that it actually shows up at is higher. The actual ownership is higher than anyone is projecting tonight because of this range and home favorite, touchdown favorite. They're just going to be owned. I'm not going to have a lot. We definitely won't have the Broncos. And then I don't love the kickers either tonight. I mean, I know the kickers have been coming in lower owned, but definitely don't like Will Lutz. And then, Tyler Bass, again, I don't use game logs to look at much, but when it comes to kickers, like I want to see, like, is the team, willing to kick the ball? And the Bills are obviously an aggressive offense. He's had, in the last 5 weeks, he's had, six total. That and 6 total field goal attempts in 5 weeks. Like you want teams that are willing to say, oh, we stalled out. It's 4th and 2. Let's kick it. Like the Bills aren't willing to do that. The most fantasy points, like Tambo said, is 6. 6 total field goal attempts in 5 weeks. Just don't love it. Definitely don't love it. So yeah, this is a weird range, and it could end up shaping up for me personally. Now that we've kind of talked through all this, where not only am I condensed in my captain spot, but I might be pretty condensed in my flex spots as well, which is how I would hypothetically get different. I'll just have so many different paths. If my fades work out tonight, where I have a lot of opportunities at the end. So it's kind of how it's shaping up for me, I think, now that we've talked through the whole thing.
Yeah, I was just trying to look at the Denver defense too, because someone brought it up. Like they're only 3,200 here. That would be the side I would actually have more interest in. Like I said, the Bills. Yeah, Josh Allen has been throwing picks like crazy. I was just trying to find Denver's last game though. Who did Denver just play?
They're Kansas City. Yeah, well, they're on bye, and then they had KC, and their defense went off.
Where did they play? Was that overseas?
No, it was
Oh no, it was the Thursday night football game. Yeah, right? 19-8?
No. What, 19-8?
That was 3. They played the Chiefs twice in the past. That was like a month ago, Tambo.
That's what. Well, I scrolled back too far. That's what I was saying. I think it was 24-9.
You know when? You know how Hoop has been talking on mute a lot during these shows. It might be a good time for you to hit that button.
24-9. No, this is what I was going to put.
There you go.
17 on Kansas City. And now they go up against Josh Allen. So I think it's just fine at 3,200. That was the point I was going to make. So not as high on the kickers, like you said, not as high on the Bills D, especially if they're going to get up to 30% or whatever it ends up being in the flex. Definitely, I'm not on either in the captains tonight. I can tell you that right now. And then also, just going on the side there at 3,200, they're well below that range of some of those other guys that we talked about. So I'm okay with them. That would be my only other take. Title, anything else that you had to add there? If not, we go to these.
I prefer Lutz on the Broncos more than Bass and the Bills. The more we talk about it, I just think I can get underweight on that whole range. And then in those lineups that I do have the money for the kickers or defenses, leave a little salary and hope a Mims or Latavius Murray, P. Ryan, McLaughlin, like give me one of these backup running backs to do something today, because I just really don't like either kicker or defenses really, but I do prefer the Broncos side. Josh can make mistakes, and the Bills are more likely to go for it than the Broncos are. So yeah, but I don't know if we've had one showdown slate where I didn't like any of these four, two of the defense, two of the kickers. I hate them all.
Yeah. I feel that there's some other plays, like we said, that you can mix in down there too. And I think, again, just looking at last night to tonight, so we love Monday Night Football games. Sometimes that stuff just carries over, even though it's not even close to the same situation or the same game. So I definitely like that one. Our guy Steven Neighbors says, looking forward to the new hoodies. We got the quote today. We're getting those in. We will definitely have double XLs, but he said 2XB for the little extra belly muscle. I like that name, the extra belly muscle. We can all use some of that. These are going to be hoodies in black, very slimming for the winter months ahead. So we keep that look fresh if you're wearing them at the gym, around the house, whatever. You feel good when you look in that mirror. So Hoop, anything else to add, man? Who's the first monthly winner? You guys can start throwing your scores into the chat. We're going to get over to the Sims here in a second. Title, you can look for a monthly winner as well. But Hoop, did you find one there? What do you got?
I have one. In regards to this game real quick, we'll have all our content up early. Like Tambo said, he's got a lot of his stuff already up on the site. As soon as this show's over, I'm going to start working on mine. It's always a goal of ours to get our content up early so you guys can start to digest it, start building your teams, then get in the Discord. And tonight you're definitely going to want to get in the Discord, because I will be giving away some money to our members so they can go and play for a little bit more on tonight's Showdown. So I'm going to try to get in there early and do that giveaway earlier, so we can get locked into those contests before they fill up. In terms of the monthly winner, it's going to be our guy AX Terrell. He said, I'd like one who've been watching for about a month now, and I can see my game getting better with just the videos. And the reason I chose this one, because I liked what he said. He's been watching us and he can see his game getting better with just the videos and shows. And like we've always said from the beginning, we understand that not everyone can justify paying a monthly amount for content. So if you are one of those people that you just can't justify paying the money, we do definitely appreciate your support just tuning in and watching our shows here on the Mayo Media Network, and then also on the SHIPIT Nation channel. And that kind of goes into the other point that we always have made, is the fact that our goal has always been to be the cheapest all-in price in the industry, and we've accomplished that. So if you are somebody that's on the fence, like you're not going to get as much, you're not going to get as much as we offer for as little of a price anywhere else. And, regardless, again, appreciate the support. If you can't get a sub, we love that you guys are tuning in and watching these videos.
Yeah. Axe Terrell, reach out to us, info@shipitnation.com. Just got to screenshot your YouTube, send it over to us. This is usually the way, Hank. All of our games would be better if we just followed what Hoop does. He even what did he do? What was I trying to say? He even pinpointed the Najee Harris game yesterday, even though Jalen Warren still beat him. He still got that one correct. And just to note, James, it is a members-only Discord. That's one of the biggest draws of the community. It's packed. Everybody here will tell you it's filled with people. The channels are all separated by each sport, very clean. You can turn notifications on for just the sports you want the updates on and be involved that way. People are throwing tons of tips, tidbits, news, information, help with process, all this stuff in there. It's not this guy versus this guy all day. There is some questions like that, but we handle them pretty quickly. So I think that's kind of one of the biggest things. And I know we didn't mention it, but if you do want to get in for a little cheaper right now, you can get in for as little as about $14 a week. It's $62 a month is how it breaks out, but it's $69 a month. Use code Mayo, get it for 10% off. That's what drops it down. Anything else you were going to say there, Hoop?
No.
Title, did you get a winner there, man? We got Axe Terrell.
Let's give it to him. First time watching, a lot of intelligent takes. Instead of that, come out $14 a month. You get the month for free, man. Appreciate it.
There you go. James House Sports. Now you'll find out about the Discord link. You'll get it in your welcome email, but send us an email, info@shipitnation.com. Screenshot your account. Send that over. We'll get you guys all set up. Hoop, do you have a score here? And then after, we need to find a member winner. Actually, you know what? For the member winner for $100, let's add it to the giveaways tonight when we do in the Discord later. You're going to give away some money?
Yeah. Yep.
Let's just add another $100.
Okay.
I know there's people signing up already. Another big weekend. So
yeah, let's
do that. Yeah. Discord tonight. We'll add another $100 to whatever Hoop was going to give away, just for members only. So I know we're doing a bunch more anyway. But what's the first score you want to look at here, and I'll break it all down.
All right. Let's see. Oh gosh. How about this one? 31-17 Bills. I think realistic score. Bills get out early. Russell Wilson, does something in garbage time, which is typically the case, and they score a few touchdowns, a couple touchdowns.
And Joe had 32-17, so we're very close to that. So it's a couple people asked for this one. Also, if you guys are just joining us for the first time watching, I know some of you said it, like James just mentioned it, and won the month. But just a note, this is runthesims.com. You want to check it out, you can go to runthesims.com. You can use promo code SHIPIT for 10% off any package. But all we're doing and what they allow you to do is break it down. So we've chosen this slate. We're playing the DraftKings Showdown Captain Mode. The inputs, you can manually change rushing market share, receiving market share, passing share, the score. We've just changed it to 31 for the Bills to 17. You can change the pace, the rush rate, all that. We're making it very simple to make it easy for you guys to understand and just run it quickly. We're running 10,000 simulations, and we're about to get the optimal results. It will run every time I say it's pretty quick. It goes slower, but that's okay. We got the good internet. So we're going to check this out and see. Once it comes up, I'll break it down for you guys quickly, and then I'll let Hoop give his thoughts first off. Shout out to our guy Newens, live from Cabo. Already made it. He already got there. He was in Discord this morning, and now he's in Cabo. Great place to be, my friend. Enjoy it. See what these optimal results look like here. Man, title, how much time can we jinx this thing? Here we go. All right, we got it set up here. So this is the breakdown for you guys. This is the 10,000 simulations. What it says is this is their projected ownership. They think Josh Allen is going to be 60% in the flex. This is how you read this. They think he's going to be 28% in the captain. We don't have to agree with it. If you think he's lower than that, that's fine. That's his total ownership, is just the combined. The flex rate at 59.8 is how often Josh Allen showed up in those sims that we just ran. So in the 10,000 simulations, Josh Allen showed up almost 60% of the time in the flex. He showed up almost 28%. So he's almost matching up perfectly with what the projected ownership is. Now, if you think he's only going to be 23% in the captain, then that's pretty good because he showed up 28% of the time in the sims. So you'd actually like that play quite a bit. You can see the opposite for Stephon Diggs. 23% in the captain. They've only got him coming out in those sims 15% of the time in the captain slot. So Hoop, I'll kick it to you first. You brought up the score. Anything here that stands out? I think the Diggs stuff stands out first off. Kincaid, maybe. He drops a little bit here. He goes from a 9% captain to a 5. He drops out of the flex from 36 to 26. Anybody else that stands out to you here?
That's a little bit scary. James Cook as a positive leverage play and Dalton Kincaid as a negative, almost at the same number. It does make sense, though, for Cook to be showing up here. I mean, the ownership they're showing 26. I think it's a little higher than that, but that's not a huge deal. But they're projected to score 31 and win by 2 touchdowns. Obviously, the running back is going to be in play in those games. But like I said, Kincaid, they're showing 45, that negative 13, somewhat concerning. Stephon Diggs. So really, I mean, one thing you're probably going to see, like Allen and Diggs together. I mean, you're spending a lot of money, especially if one of those is in the captain. Not both, to see Diggs as negative leverage, I guess, doesn't surprise me for that reason, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Troutman down there. They have Troutman in at 31%. I don't know. He's not going to be 31% owned. So that, not really worried about the negative 14 there. I mean, he's probably 12, 13, 14, 15%, somewhere in that range. So that's kind of what I'd expect. Not too much more standing out.
Yeah, I think that's key. And then in a note, too, just so people at home see it, like obviously, first off, 22% in the flex. I think he's closer to 30. So that would tell you that this is actually pretty much closer. I think he's actually higher than 4% in the captain. So you can swing it a little bit. And then also, too, when you go to inputs here and scroll down, you can see they're giving a bigger market share to Cooks. I've been talking him up all game. I'm just saying, or all show about him having a game. But I'm just saying in general, I still have to be a realist when it comes to this stuff. If you don't have him as these numbers, you would want to change these up as well. And obviously those would then swing the results. So just something that you could do when you're playing with it. If you're playing Showdown, I think it's one of the best tools out there that you can use, that you can go and actually find this stuff out. And then if you think you know ball and want to do a mix of knowing ball and running sims, that's how you can do it. You can literally change it to what you think is going to happen in the game and then see what the sims tell you. So it's definitely a good piece to have for the Showdown stuff. And you guys can break it all down there. Title, your score. What do you got, man? I'm just going to reset it so we can start over here. What do you got for your score?
Let's go 24-20 Broncos.
All right, the upset.
Which, yeah, I mean, it's up to 7.5. I think 7 this morning is 7.5, and I looked 30 minutes ago. It's not crazy. I mean, what were the Cowboys? 18. So, hey, 7.5. We've seen crazier things happen. And people talk. I mean, there's injuries on Buffalo on the defensive side. Micah Hyde's still out, or is out this game, and then their offense has not looked great this year. So, I don't think it's crazy to see it something like this.
Yeah, and Richie Smalls was close too, wanted 24-17 for the Broncos. So this will be pretty close to it. Like it'll look pretty much the same. Let's have a look here. So Josh Allen coming in still big in the flex no matter what. Like Josh Allen tonight, and that's what I was saying earlier, even with me being underweight on him in the captain, in the flex, it just makes so much sense because he's still going to be involved in doing stuff for their side. And again, it's a hefty price. Nicer way to do it is get him in the flex where it's 1.5 less, right? So you can play him there. And then you've got captain, drops quite a bit for him. Russell Wilson goes up huge in the captain. Obviously, he'd be a big part of it. Javonte goes up in the captain. Again, I don't think 3% is correct. I've got him closer to 6 or 7, maybe even more. So anyway, this is close. Anything else here, Title, that you see standing out besides the obvious that the Broncos jumped the board a little bit, Russell Wilson getting involved?
Yeah, I mean, all the Broncos pretty much. And James Cook, it seems pretty much any game script. And it makes sense just because of those top 5 price guys, he's by far going to be the lowest owned. And on Showdown, it is hard to ignore those things. So I know I like him in the flex. Maybe I'll have to reconsider a bit. Captain, scroll down for all the defenses though, and kickers. So I see Broncos positive there, Bass awful, Lutz awful, Bills awful. And yeah, the only reason Broncos good because 20 to the Bills is less than expected. So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad Run the Sims is on the same page. Even most game scripts, those 4 won't be grading out very well.
Yeah, one thing I want to see quickly here just to see it, but I think this is more interesting. 20-14, the game goes way under from what we thought. The Broncos still lose. They just cover the spread, but it's not what people think it is, pushing 50 points, let's say, or it's not necessarily there's some stalls, there's things like that. I just want to see how it rolls out here because nobody really went with that I saw, or not many at least. Everybody thinks the Bills score 30 handily and just crush here. I would want to see something closer to this. Let's see what this looks like.
Well, yeah, and if Bass pops up very positive leverage, of course, that they're giving him 2 field goals already, so that doesn't have to mean much, and he's not even all the way up there.
Yeah, he doesn't even pop up heavy. He's still down here. He sits around 19, goes to 14. He's still not.
Noodle leg doesn't give him any 50-yard chance. So 4 or 3 for his 2 field goals.
It is interesting that a lot of these punt plays are down the board. Besides, Latavius moves up the board a little bit. The Broncos D that we talked about being too low. Broncos D are kind of in the situation. I wouldn't compare them at all to this, but just to say it, and you can only take it slate by slate of Cleveland versus Baltimore. It was, you knew they were capable of doing something, but it was because it was in Baltimore in a tough game that you got the price decrease. It's the same kind of thing here, right? Where you're looking at that. So just in general, I think that's one thing to note, but there is not a lot of punt plays popping up. The James Cook thing too, I will say, if Fournette gets ruled active, not only would I have already adjusted his stuff in here for the inputs, but in general, I just think he drops off quite a bit there. So I wouldn't get as hyped as I was saying earlier on him just based on that. I do want to wait on the Fournette news. Even if you don't think he's going to get a bunch of snaps, it still has to cut into some. And so I would look at it affecting him more than Murray, kind of how we talked about that earlier. And then what else do we see here? Again, Diggs and Allen. So Hoop, does any of this change your mind on the Diggs-Allen combinations outside of being able to use the 2 4s, 3 3s? I think you can fit them. Do you think you're going to get to as many 5 1s that have them both or 4 2s that have them both?
I mean, I will be over the field one way or another on that combination, and everything Bills heavy, I'll be over the field on. I can guarantee you that. So that will be my goal. I just punching in. I just wanted to see like what do you have left if you go like a Allen, Diggs, you got 40, almost 4,800. So yeah, it is tough to get up to that next range. But where is little Jordan Humphrey? Because it looked like he was popping on a couple on the Run the Sims. There he is.
Yeah, they got him up to almost 10%.
They all are with Troutman down.
So they got his ownership at like 1%. So that's why it's looking a little different.
Yeah, I think they're all like more in that 5% range. And so then this is still saying positive, but maybe not as much on Surefield because again, $200 matters as well.
Yeah,
versus 800 there, but it could just
Humphrey's definitely going to be more than one. So
right.
But
he ain't going to be 9. So yeah,
no. So yeah, there is some leverage, but yeah, maybe that's the pivot, like him over Troutman or something, which we had talked about already.
Yeah, definitely don't hate that. And Shakir also kept popping up. Even here, look at Shakir, really jumps the board. I don't have Shakir at 30% either, at 29% right now, and he's showing up that he's good almost 30% of the time in flex, and he's even showing up in captain, which actually is interesting to me because he's sort of that mid range where he would get you a balanced build. It would basically be I guess he would kind of be like not quite, because it's actually he's quite a bit less, but like Kincaid up top allows you to get away with quite a bit. Shakir would just allow that much more. Not saying I love it, but just to say that it is interesting that he pops up here in this example, because then you need in a lower scoring game, the PPR guys and those, as you like to say, Hoop, like those floor ceiling combinations, right? Yeah. So you just get those two guys in there that can get those guys in there that have the two-way access to just good floor with the potential for ceiling. And that allows you to fit more of those versus trying to find and rotate through the right punt plays.
Yep. Makes sense. Yep.
Cool. Title, final thoughts on this, man? Anything else you want to bring up on this slate before we get out of here?
No, the final thought's going to be a question, and it's based on that. So how many lineup, or I guess what percent of lineups, of course you're not done building yet, but do you think would skip that Shakir kicker defense range? And do you see yourself going like, I saw someone mention earlier, double punt and go stars and scrubs, and maybe it just could be one or two catches from those guys down low. The kickers' defenses don't get there, and just Josh, Diggs, one of the receivers, Suttons of the world. The expensive guys just absolutely nuke. They get all the target share, and you just 2 points, 3 points is enough, and that's how roster construction goes, because it'll be contrarian. And I don't like those kickers' D's anyway, so fading that whole range is interesting in some builds. What's your thoughts on that?
That's where I was at early on as well. Like, I think you're going to be way better off tonight. It looks like it anyway. We'll see. These defenses can continue to punish us. But if you, like you said, the LJH, little Jordan Humphrey, you got Shakir, you've got Latavius Murray. I'm going to have some Troutman, even though he's what's that? Yeah, McLaughlin. I like P. Ryan more than McLaughlin. I really think P. Ryan, you might have to wait all game for it, but it could just be down the stretch. He just starts to rack them up and has 4 for 70 or something.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Hoop.
One more thing to add. Just wanted to touch on FanDuel real quick before we got on out of here. In terms of the pricing over there, Josh Allen 17.5, Diggs 15.5, Russell Wilson 15K. They're kind of in a tier of their own at the top. To me, it's going to be hard for someone to outscore Josh Allen. I will say on FanDuel, though, James Cook definitely way more in play for me on FanDuel than on DK's 11,000 on FanDuel, where if he finds the end zone once, I think he has a pretty good chance to be the guy you need in flex. I will have him on FanDuel, probably not much on DK. I actually like the kickers, the way this slate's shaping up, a little bit more on FanDuel versus DK, which is like a little bit weird because the non-PPR, if they kick a 40-yard field goal, like a wide receiver has to do quite a bit to, get to that point, a couple catches for, 25, 30 yards in that range. So like the kickers a little bit more. They are Lutz is 9K, Bass is 8,500, Shakir at 8K, Latavius Murray at 7.5, and that falls off quick. There's just not many punt options. Troutman 6,500, Humphreys 5,500. So the main takeaway for me on FanDuel is Cook's price much better over there.
Lil Jordan Newens, our guy. That's perfect.
There you go.
Get him in there.
Like
you should
that,
add it to his name. He says, and JT brought it up too, only 5,500 on FanDuel. Very nice punt option. Maybe just need a couple catches in the right spot. Yeah, could be the case. Hoop, did you have any other final thoughts? I know you just talked about FanDuel. Anything else you want to bring up? I know you said it already, going to be doing some giveaways tonight. We're adding another $100 to that member giveaway. You can get in with code Mayo if you want to have access to that. Anything else you want to mention, Hoop, before we get out of here?
Yeah, I'd get in that Discord. I mean, there'll be between $300, $400 total dollars given away tonight. And, if we get, the more success we have, the more we're willing to give away, which is obviously evident by what Tambo is doing with his King of the Beach seat, which is something we're all about. Very, very generous. It's about the community, man. You surround yourself with good people, good things will happen to you. I'm a firm believer in that. Very firm believer in that. Get rid of the toxic stuff in your life. Surround yourself around good, positive, like-minded people, and good things will happen to you. Really, 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 truly believe that.
Yeah, and big stuff coming up this week, too. It's our 6-month anniversary, so founding family members have the big free roll, all that. We'll get all that out to you guys. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Appreciate everybody watching. Smash that like on the way out. Go subscribe to the SHIPIT Nation YouTube station. Get the comment in on the member winning $1 million video so you can be in the draw for anywhere from 100 to 5,000, depending on how I do this weekend. I'll be back for one more show tomorrow. I've got the first look, and then I travel on Thursday, so I won't be back on the Thursday Night Football Showdown show. It'll be Title and Hoop. As always, thank you guys for watching. For Hoop, for Title, for myself, ToeTagginTambo. Let's ship it!